On this edition of Street Kung Fu, we're going to show you exactly what the 1-inch punch is meant for. Stick around. What's going on, YouTube fam? This is Sifu Jimmy Manfredy here, coming at you once again for Street Kung Fu. My assistant is always Isaac Jones. And we did take a couple weeks off. We had to get a few things straight over here on the Street Kung Fu end. So now we got it straight. Now we're back at it. Today, we're going to be teaching you the modern and most realistic reason for doing Bruce Lee's and Ip Man and Wing Chun's famed 1-inch punch, okay? Now, let me put a few things to bed. The 1-inch punch, in exhibition purposes, you know, when it's done, you know, when somebody's sitting here and they're doing this and boom, and they're, you know, sending people flying into chairs and stuff like that, you know, I always hear a lot of stuff from people who want to naysay, hey, oh, that's crap, you know, there's no real power in something like that. Look, let's say it for what it is. Anything trained for long enough properly will have power through its technique, period. You can say what you want about it, you know, you can feel how you want to feel about any technique out in the martial arts spectrum, but at the end of the day, somebody will train it diligently enough to make it work, okay? And as long as you hit it with speed, accuracy, it will create power, period, okay? So in retrospect here, we're going to move forward, and 1-inch punch is, again, one of those techniques that people, like I said, they naysay it, they don't believe it really works. Now, if you're going to look at it from a cinematic point of view, you know, you make anything look good on camera, all right? Now, in a realistic fighting methodology, like street fighting mostly, we want to do this from a very closed position. And what I mean by closed position, I don't mean the normal fighting mentality where we're in this closed, you know, orthodox versus orthodox or southpaw versus southpaw position, okay? That's not what I mean. I mean, you want to be in a very inside, close to the body position, all right? So as this is happening, you're already close enough to generate that inch energy, or in Cantonese, it's called Chun Gink, okay? So inch energy is in all martial arts. Anybody who says otherwise is full of crap, or they're just not paying attention, all right? When you do dynamic tension techniques, you know, anything that requires you to flex at the moment of impact, that's inch energy, all right? You do it all the time, you don't even realize it, all right? Now we're just putting an emphasis on 1-inch punch. That's it. 1-inch punch, 3-inch punch, 6-inch punch. It doesn't matter. That same energy, when you hit, creates the inch energy. So that right there, that's when you hear all your martial arts instructors, don't clinch until the moment of impact. That's inch energy. That's literally what the 1-inch punch uses when you're using it in demonstration, so on and so forth. You know, when you see people do it that way, that's exactly what they're doing. They're using that inch energy. They're getting into this position, and they're flexing everything, and they're creating that nice, dynamic, explosive power. Now, in combat, if you think you're Bruce Lee and you try to do some crap like this and you're going to get hurt, okay? This person's not just going to stand there and hit you with it, or sorry, let you hit them with it, okay? They're going to punch you in the face, they're going to kick you, they're going to grab you, they're going to do whatever, okay? Remember, this is a world of MMA, grappling, you know, so if you're doing any kind of martial arts, you got to learn how to defend against all that stuff. You know, if you're doing any kind of like karate, taekwondo, you know, Japanese jiu-jitsu, you know, kung fu, okay, anything, boxing, you got to learn how to contend with anybody who's going to grab you. I mean, if you don't have a little bit of grappling in your repertoire, then you're not paying attention. You know, you're going to end up in somebody's wheelhouse where that's all they do is grapple, and you're going to be at their mercy. All right. Now, with that said, you get into somebody's, you know, grapple. Now, we're not going to do a fancy grapple here. We're not going to do a full-on jiu-jitsu technique, so on and so forth. We will demonstrate that another day. I'll have one of my good friends from Champions MMA up the street here in Florida and have them actually do what they're great at, okay, which is grappling, okay? I'll bring in Harley again, who you guys have seen before, and help do that, or one of his other students over there. All right. So at this point, what I'm going to show you is like, if he's got me like in this simple little grapple right here. All right. So let's get a little closer here. So if he's got me in this simple little grapple here, he's already got my hand right on his chest. Okay. And if I'm doing this and I'm trying to grab and I'm trying to get out of here, but my hand's right here on his chest, and I do everything. I turn my hip, followed by my shoulder, and then clinch and extend at the elbow. That's a 1-inch punch. Okay? And done right, done with a dynamic pop to it, it's gonna hurt. You might even give him a minor chest compression, man. You might stop his heart for a second. Now, am I saying this is, you know, the fabled dim mak? No, this is not the fabled death touch. All right? You know, in order to do something like that, you would have to generate a ton of force, okay? But it will disorient enough for them to get off me, get knocked back, okay, and let me continue with a barrage of something else, all right? So it's very simply put, the 1-inch punch is meant to help you get out of a tight situation, all right? If I'm here and I pow, boom, ow, you know, that's gonna hurt. So for instance, grab me a pad for a second, please. All right, so keep that in mind. For instance, if you're that close, all right, and he's holding this up here to his body, and I'm here, okay, and I get really close on him, right, and I get in here, right here, and I go boom. That right there is just enough for him to get hurt. I mean, come on, there's about 3 inches worth of padding, all right, and if I could hit from right here, right, without driving through, and I just do that, and that happens, imagine if that's not there, okay? That's not there, I'm hitting him right in the sternum. If I'm in here, I want to hit right in the sternum, that's the sound you're gonna hear, okay? If I get him in the floating rib, same thing. If I get him in the nose, same thing. The neck, same thing. 1-inch punches are meant to be done close, in my opinion, okay? Again, remember, everything here on Street Kung Fu is all my opinion. Even though I've trained for 35 years, these are still my points of view, all right? By all means, if you're training with an instructor and they have their own opinion, seek them out, ask them their opinion. Take opinions from everywhere. All these opinions will help create yours in the future, okay? That's the whole process of learning martial arts, okay? So, again, keep that in mind. I mean, if I'm in here and we're tussling and I hit his hip, 1-inch punch. If I hit boom, 1-inch punch. If I hit boom, 1-inch punch. And hey, if he pulls me in close, I'm on 1-inch punches growing. Hello? Just get right, you know, I'm a simulator on his hip. But if I'm in close, he's got me like in a headlock or something, and I go here, boom, look, and that was his hip. Okay? That was just his hip. Can you imagine if I hit him in the groin? You know, so keep that in mind. So the 1-inch punch is to be done in close in order to help gain an advantage, help better your positioning, okay? You can do it on the ground too. Anything you can do on your feet, you can do on the ground. So if you're in the ground and you're in a grappling scenario and this is a self-defense scenario, you know, you're in close, you know, you're closing the distance, you're super tight. What other punch can you do? You know, you're not gonna sit back. You're not gonna be like in somebody. Let's say you're in their guard all tight, you know, and you're on the floor. They got their legs wrapped around you. You're not gonna go and try to push off when you can't and try to cock back a bomb. You know what? It's so much easier just to turn your hand and just pow and just boom, just rocket one in there because you're already there. Okay, nice tight movements, okay? And then, boom, jackhammer. Boom. Now, obviously, the more distance your arm can go and hip can turn, you're gonna generate more power, okay? So, for instance, grab the pad again for me. So, if I'm close, okay, and I, boom, that's it. That's as far as he's gonna go. Okay, but if I go here, okay, and I go, whoo, You know, and that's the normal one you see in demonstration. You see that nice, you know, bodies turn, you know, hip comes in and just boom, and you hit. And then you see guys flying all the way back and forth. It's great for demo. It is. It's great for demo. It's great, you know, when somebody wants to disprove, oh, that's not going to work, blah, 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 and then you pull them out of the crowd, give them a pad for safety, and you put it on their chest, and you're like, all right, well, hold it nice and tight, and boom, and you send them flying back. It's great for demo. It is, you know. If anyone said otherwise, then nobody would have been impressed when Bruce Lee did it back in San Francisco all those years ago. That's the plain and simple truth of the matter. All right? So, from me to everyone out there, stop trying to disprove, you know, this kind of technique that is done by a professional, okay? There's a reason why these professionals keep doing it, you know? Whether you want it to go away because you want to stick to a modern mindset or not, that's your prerogative. You don't have to do it. Don't, if that's not your cup of tea, all right? But don't sit here bashing, because the reason why I did this video today was because over our hiatus, I had a conversation with a gentleman, and he just was like bashing traditional martial arts. And, you know, I sat back and I listened. I didn't turn it into an argument of dominance. You know, it was just interesting to hear, though. It always is. You know, it's one of those things where, you know, it hit home, but I had to educate. So instead of arguing with him, I invited him here. And he came in. We had a great time. It wasn't about measuring anything, okay? We had a great time. I shared my points of views. He shared his opinions, so on and so forth. And that's what martial arts is intended to be, by the way, okay? It's not about who's tougher. You know, any true martial artist, any true master martial artist will tell you they're no tough guy. You know, they just do what they need to do in the time they need to do it, all right? So keep that in mind. Don't sit there with a closed mind talking about, oh, that technique's not going to work. Oh, you're this doesn't work. Oh, this, that. I mean, even, you know, our great grandmaster, the founder of our lineage of Wing Chun Kung Fu, you know, Ip Man, Bruce Lee's teacher, you know, he was a revolutionary when it came down to authentic and inauthentic. You know, they told him all the time, that's not authentic. This ain't right. You're doing it wrong. You're not doing it the way you were taught. And yet he became one of the most well-known martial artists of his time, and to the point where even long after his death, his thought process and techniques are still generating great martial artists. The same for, you know, the Gracies, the, you know, the Marimoto Sensei from, I know you guys don't know who that is, but that was a karate instructor that I had back in the day. And anyone you can come across, you know, Stephen Haynes, who else? John Heckelman, who actually is the proprietor of the Pit over in Hawaii and Cali, all right? Hawaiian Kempo in Cali. Sorry, I take that back. Sorry, John. And so on and so forth. There, you know, Jeff Speakman with Kempo, Ed Parker with Kempo, who was his teacher, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? If you don't look at it with an open mind and help it evolve, then you're the problem. And that's my opinion. So with that said, I'm Sifu Jimmy Manfredy. This is Isaac Jones. We are 2 subscribers away from 250, by the way. 2. All we need is 2 more. That second one gets a free Street Kung Fu t-shirt. All right? And again, at 300, that 300 subscriber gets a Street Kung Fu hoodie, either in red like this or in black. All right? Your choice, my treat. I pay for the shipping. I pay for everything. All right? I'll contact you the moment it pops up that you're 250 and 350 and every 50th subscriber after that. All right? I'll take care of it. All right? So you guys ain't got to worry about nothing but watching, supporting, hitting that like and subscribe button. But if you don't want to subscribe, by all means, just keep coming back, checking us out, and comment, give your opinions. We love to hear it. I love seeing it pop up in the comment sections. Love you guys for your support. See you guys next week. Practice hard. Keep it moving.